So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the podcast. My name's Yoli Chisholm, and this is the Tulum Magazine podcast. And for our inaugural guest, I'm so excited. I've got Ashley Cummins, who is basically, if you want to know what to do in Tulum, where to go, where to party, she's so plugged in. And so I wanted to make sure she was my first interview. Ashley, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, how does a young gal from Omaha, Nebraska, find herself in Tulum, Mexico? I know you've traveled quite a bit, but how did you find yourself here?
That is a great question, and a question everyone from Omaha still asks me. I absolutely love where I grew up, but I've always been the adventurous one. So, after high school, I wanted to go to school out of state, and I'm just really looking for adventure and culture and wanting to just really explore. And so it just happened organically. I've been very fortunate to have different opportunities come up that's allowed me to keep moving around, explore new places. I was introduced to international travel shortly after college and was able to travel 15, 20 countries in almost 2 years. Wow. And that really kind of lit that fire. And as I get older and more confident, my outlook on it is you can always try and you can always go back.
Yeah.
So when people are maybe afraid to take the leap to move somewhere new or try a new job or whatever it is, whether they know no one in the town or they're just not sure, I'm like, just go for it. We're not really ever stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
You have a plane ticket home. I'm sure you have support, friends or family. So it's, what do you really have to lose? And most of the time it works out well. And sometimes it doesn't, but that's okay. So I've moved around every few years, just by chance, serendipitously, but Tulum was thanks to a friend.
Yeah.
He wanted to come visit. He had been here before, and it was in the middle of COVID, and I was one of the only friends who was able to travel at the time. And so we just needed a little escape. It was a very tense time, and we felt comfortable enough, and so came here, and day one just connected with people, and that's it. I came for a 5-day trip, and it's been 2.5 years.
So 5 days turned into 2.5 years. And where were you coming from? Like, where were you escaping?
I previously lived in Napa, California. Okay. So I was in no means looking to leave. I thought that I was going to be home for a long time. And it's still a very dear place to me. I was just there recently again, but no, it's just, I didn't realize what I was lacking or what there was too much of, not just in California, but in the United States in general.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that certain factors, environmentally, socially, politically, were just making life a little harder.
Yeah.
And to come here in this town in Mexico, a country I've visited many times, but really just on cruises or the traditional Cabo, Cancun.
Yeah.
It completely changed my outlook on everything, and I felt myself naturally sinking into a very healthy and more positive lifestyle, just with the way daily life is here, and without even trying too hard.
Yeah.
And the longer I stayed, the more I realized a lot of things that you think you need, you don't. Especially when you only come with 5 days worth of clothes. And, we live in a beach town, so we're very lucky. It's very laid back. But just other things you buy for your house or things you feel like you have to go do and spend money. I don't know, just a lot of environmentally for me, a lot of those things, the pressures and the expectations, I feel don't exist here. And that allows you to really settle into like who you are and what you want to do and who you want to be. And I just couldn't ignore it. I have all of my family and friends in the States, and I've been back for a few trips, of course, over the few years, but every time I go back, it just really solidifies for me what Tulum is. Tulum is where I feel happiest and healthiest right now.
I really resonate with that. You know, I was living in New York, and what I always say to my friends, like, I don't miss my, I don't know how many pairs of shoes I had.
Right.
Like, I'm in flip-flops constantly.
Yes. And not even nice ones, because you have to be prepared to step in a puddle.
Yeah.
Or be in the sand. Like,
totally. And I do not miss the bra.
Right? 2.5 years, I don't even own one anymore.
Right.
They don't fit. They're just not necessary, and it's just not even something you think about here. Like, it's not.
It's so interesting.
It's a non-issue.
Yeah. I want to dig a little bit into, you know, what is special about Tulum. You know, you mentioned, you know, socially, environmentally.
Mm-hmm.
Were those things that you were conscious of before, and just have become more like in tune with, or like what is it that makes Tulum so special?
For me personally, so I'm a very type A, like go, pretty fast paced most of the time. Tulum and Mexico has taught me so much patience.
Yeah.
You know, we joke about Tulum time.
Yeah.
It's a thing, but it has just taught me to really slow down. There's also not the expectation that you need to be up and out and behind a computer at 8 a.m. or even in the gym before dark.
Right.
Or before the sun rises. People, there's such an independent international community here with different perspectives on what your day-to-day should look like.
Yeah.
That I feel like you really can figure out what your routine. So for me, it's taught me to slow down. The pressures of like what to wear every day. You know, I can go to the gym and then pop into the bank and go to a meeting on the beach in one outfit. And it's not a question.
Yeah.
You know, I've been privileged and very grateful to meet with some really amazing people doing really important things here and abroad, and most of those meetings they're on the beach with no shoes or, you know, in a swimsuit, and that's just it. You're focusing on what's most important.
Yeah.
And that's what it's allowed me to, like, to take a step back and be like it doesn't need to be like that.
Yeah.
And you go back, you know, going back to the States, especially during COVID, everyone had an opinion about everything and how everyone was doing everything. And here, COVID was very real here. We had when I arrived, everything shut down at 10 p.m.
Right.
Like, doors closed, lights off. There were no events. There were no parties. You know, there really wasn't a lot to do.
Yeah.
All the parks were closed. But people allowed, you know, it's an open air space. People allowed you to just figure out what made you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Everyone felt their duty to do things out of respect for everyone else. And it just was not a battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, you know, a lot of the rest of the world also acted like that.
Yeah.
The States was really hard.
It was definitely a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure in New York it was.
It was.
A whole other world.
As soon as they opened up, I was like, okay, I got to get out of here. One thing you mentioned is, you know, being a type A person.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I have found here that's a little bit of a paradox is a lot of people wear many hats.
Yes.
You know, you'll meet a person and they're literally doing 8 things, which is a bit of a contradiction to the slowdown of Tulum.
True.
What do you find that that's true of you? Like, what do you do here in Tulum?
Actually, it's funny. A lot of people don't realize I have like a real day job, right? So I lived in Napa, and right at the start of COVID, January 2020, I started my own digital marketing agency. I'd been working for a startup agency there, and so I do digital marketing for wineries and wine brands, primarily in California.
Okay.
But around the U.S. So that's my day job. I do it remotely from here. And then for me, anytime I move, I dive into my community.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's been 2 days or it's only going to be a year. I don't like to be a bystander. If I'm going to live here and participate, I want to make sure I'm contributing and understanding, you know, the culture and what's appropriate or what's expected or what you need.
Yeah.
What you can do to give back. And so that's really how it started. It's just my nature. It's been like that everywhere I've lived. I just want to know. I want to understand my environment. I want to understand what's going on in the news. I have a journalism degree, so it's just again, in my nature to be very curious, and I like to get to know people. And so in Tulum, I have my agency that's my day-to-day, pays the bills.
Yeah.
But it's evolved. I'm very involved in the fitness community. I've always been in fitness and trying to live a healthier lifestyle with working out.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, but now I teach here, which is something I always wanted to do in the U.S. and didn't have the opportunity to do. And it happened here it was serendipitous and aligned, and it's been a big part of my life. And I've gotten to meet amazing people through that. And then I also...
Where do you teach and what do you teach?
So I teach at Tulum Fight Club.
Okay.
It's a martial arts gym, but I teach the women's cross-training class.
Awesome.
So I get to work with just the one women's only class, an incredible group of women. There's the core of us are long-term expats here. And we really focus on weights and strength, and it's been, I think it's been a year and a half now teaching there. And then I also go to Pilates. I like yoga. Obviously Tulum has so much,
yeah,
which is really nice, and it's very accessible too.
Yeah.
Same thing, you can, it's only 5 or 10 minutes to get to a class versus like 30 minutes or an hour commute to be in an hour class.
Yeah.
It's very attainable and very much more affordable here than a lot of places. So I'm involved in the fitness community. I've been a member of co-working Tulum since they started, since I'm a digital nomad. That's been an incredible community for me to just have peers and people to collaborate with, network, and just company when you don't want to work alone. And because of their format, you get to know a lot of businesses in the community. So through that, I've been exposed to a lot of local business owners, and what are they doing and what events do they do, and so that's grown. And then my boyfriend I met here, he's Mexican, and he owns a transportation and tour company.
Okay.
So through that, we get to host a lot of guests and visitors and friends.
Yeah.
First time, returning, and that's always, super fun, especially because we've been here long enough now. We want to show them things we enjoy, what more of the local vibe is, not the traditional like tourist route. And so that's even what we're getting to do right now through the next few weeks, which is one of our favorite parts. So that's just a few, and there's
And how did you get plug into the party scene? Like I
the
noticed
party
that
scene? That is a great question. So I actually never listened to any electronic music before.
Yeah.
I'm from Nebraska. I'm country music. I listened to what I thought was everything. I just think part of it was I've never really lived anywhere where electronic music clicked for me in the environment. And being here, again, it's like there is a style. There's like jungle house, and I don't know. I just started. My boyfriend initially, he's incredibly passionate about music. As a hobby, and he DJs. He's taught himself because he just loves it. And watching him and so I started and being interested more and going to more events, and that community in itself is. It's pretty incredible. I think it's very special, and you're sharing these experiences with people, and especially in Tulum, you get to listen to music on the beach, on the sand under the stars, or in the jungle. Like they're just, I don't think anywhere else in the world.
Totally
and so
different
they're not
experience.
these crazy intense parties. They're like people just want to have a good time and be around other people and share and dance. And a lot of artists come here, I think, and see it as an opportunity for them to also experiment and share music they wouldn't otherwise play in other places. Places that might be a little more commercial. So we've been able to see a lot of incredible DJs who come here and play their own music, music they produce, because they know we're open to it. And we just have a different mindset. We're not expecting, and it's a much more intimate crowd here. Most events, are a couple hundred, maybe 1,000. And you see these DJs go play for tens and 20,000 people, and we get to see them on the beach with 500. That connection is incredible. So that's been amazing. And so
what are some of your favorite venues? I think I saw Black Coffee at might have been Zamna, I think it was.
Yeah, he comes to Zamna. Oh gosh, I mean that it depends. Like we were at a How last night. That's a really special place. You know, they've been in Tulum a long time, and have cultivated a really nice community.
Yeah.
I think Papaya Playa is beautiful. I tell people if you really only have one night, I just think it's a really special place, and their production
they really
is really nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's just they really think of everything. They're like one step ahead, and you just don't even realize like that's what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And you're on the sand, and you hear the ocean, and you feel the, you know, the air under the palm trees, and they hang the disco lights, and so that just like I always feel very happy.
Lovely.
At Papaya.
Yeah.
But then you have really cool boutique venues and, you know, private events that pop up. There's some lagoons, and so I don't know, it just depends. Like
it's a smorgasbord.
Tulum is small, but there's always something and something different, and the vibe you want you can find. Totally, and I think that makes it special too.
But it's not always about partying.
No,
because I think we met at an event that Co-working Tulum was hosting. It was a beach cleanup, which was awesome and amazing. And you know, so how do you recommend if somebody's thinking of staying here longer term? How do you recommend they plug into the community?
That's honestly like I mentioned, the day one I met people and we just connected, and it was like, oh, my birthday's next week, stay next week, and so 5 days turned into 10, and then you make more friends. So it's really just coming here, I think, with an open mind, and you have to put yourself out there a little bit, but I think Tulum is such a welcoming space. People are incredibly welcoming.
Yeah.
So you find something you enjoy, like Pilates, and you show up, and that class is only 6 people, so you get to kind of mingle and chat, and then they might invite you to a dinner. But there's a lot of community groups. There's co-working just work together, but it's a very social group. I've met some of my best friends through that group, and there's also like dinner club, which is 30 to 50 plus people every week getting together. It's local restaurants to eat, and you know, there's the beach cleanups.
Crawl.
I know, there's the beach cleanups. You know, there's parties. There's so many incredible wellness events, ceremonies. Like, there's just so much. So I think if you just go into it open and just taking the opportunity, like putting yourself out there to chat. Yeah. There's very few people, if ever, you don't really get along with here. Yeah. I think it's a very special type of person that comes here and embraces what it is, the pros and the cons and the challenges. Yeah. And if you stay here and you embrace it, you find it, and you find different groups for different things, what you're feeling.
So you mentioned the challenges, I guess, in the spirit of journalism. Yes. You know, what are some of the challenges of living in Tulum? I noticed today there was an article in the New York Times about, you know, there's been an influx into Mexico City, for example, of remote workers and, you know, into Airbnbs, and it's increasing the price of housing for the locals, and you know, there's always that dynamic. I felt it in New York, you know, being in the tech scene. You know, whenever a tech company moved into a neighborhood, it kind of like really affected the neighborhood. What are some of the challenges for you personally, and then in the context of being sort of somebody who's an expat? You know, what are some of your thoughts when people bring up that
I'm very passionate about this topic. My boyfriend's Mexican. You know, I try to be very humble and open, and that's part of why I know what's going on, because I actively look for the information, right? I want to know what's going on in the news, not just with high season and what everyone's going to be doing, like what's going on with the locals. Like, I think Tulum has this persona, a lot of people come here with this perception that it's this bougie beach town, on the Instagram Tulum, which it is a lot of, but there's so many incredible people here that are not part of that, and you know, you come here and you realize half the roads aren't paved. I mean, when we got here 2.5 years ago, like,
Yeah.
50% of these roads were not
Yeah,
paved.
no.
We're so lucky right now with what it is. But I think people need to come here humbly reminded that it is technically still a third world country.
Yeah.
While Tulum is very expensive, probably the most expensive city in this country.
Yeah.
You need to understand, like, Tulum was not built to be what it is. It started as a true beach town that organically grew.
Yeah.
And they were responsive to that. It's a tourism state. So they're trying to figure out how they can, participate in that. But also, you need to remember who's building these buildings and doing these roads and serving you at dinner or at your beach club.
Yeah.
So you can come here saying, okay, I pay this rent. Like, why aren't the roads paved, and why is my internet out, and why is there no water? They don't have infrastructure, and that's something that we contributed to because we all came here in masses.
Yeah.
So you just need to take a breath. You can't come to Tulum needing to be on the internet 9 to 5 every day, or being upset that, like, things happen. The reality is things happen all over the world, and I think you need to come here just being able to accept that, and also being self-sufficient.
Yeah.
It's really not a place you can come and find a job and probably live the way you are used to. That's an unfortunate reality. So I don't know. It's a really complex situation,
balance, right?
And there's so much help to be done, but there are no government resources. It's very, very limited. I know they are trying. Like, I am pretty involved in talking to different groups and how we lobby for certain things.
Yeah.
But it's really complex, and it's not just Tulum, it's Mexico. And it's a systemic issue, decades and decades old. And so I think also people want to come here and help, but you need to take a step back and figure out, like, how can we do it, not just the way we think it should be done, but like, how is it best for the locals too?
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really, I'm a huge advocate. If you're going to come be here more than 6 months, for probably more than a year, you need to get residency. Like, you need to do things the right way.
Yeah.
I was very adamant about that. Once I was here almost a year, I said, okay, great, this is it. I'm going to get my residency, then I don't have to worry about, when they were doing less than 6 months.
Yeah.
I can come and go. I also, you have other benefits. I am paying a sort of a tax, which contributes to what I'm using, the resources. So I'm really a big advocate. If you're going to come here, like, do things the right way too. You're in another country, like, respect that.
Yeah.
Don't come here because you just think it's Mexico and there's little to no rules. There's a lot of flexibility here, but that does not mean you need to take advantage or abuse that.
Yeah.
If you have the means, like, we should do it the right way. So
I agree.
That's something that's really important to me, and I really dive into with people, and I think that's something that's tricky here.
Yeah.
But the reality is we can, I got my residency, my 4-year residency in a week. My Mexican boyfriend has been on a wait list for 18 months to even get a visa to come to the U.S. for a weekend.
That's so crazy.
And so that's a lot of perspective for me.
Yeah. It definitely puts it in perspective.
So we can enjoy everything that we can here, but we also need to be really mindful of what the rest of the community, how they're living, what they're going through, what they're working for. It's a really, really hard life.
Yeah.
At the same time. So you can't walk around here with blinders and pretend like that's not part of Tulum.
Yeah. 100%.
I think you have to embrace it. Those people are amazing and hardworking, and all they want to do is provide for you and their family. And I feel that, like,
You definitely feel it, especially in the Mayan folks who live here. They're so warm, so welcoming.
Yeah.
One of the things I have been surprised about Tulum was, I always thought I'm originally Canadian, and Canadians would come to Mexico and Florida, but it was typically in retirement.
Right.
And so one of the things that has really surprised me about Tulum has been, like, the age range of people, that are here.
For sure.
Do you think that's related to COVID? You know, a lot of us are COVID refugees.
Right.
Or do you think there's something else about Tulum that makes people stay, like, or that makes young people?
No, I definitely think it's a result of COVID.
Yeah.
Because everyone I know that's been here pre-COVID, you know, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, are
like retired
30s, 40s, 50s,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Or just like a little bit, like middle age. But I think COVID, when everyone went online and remote, it allowed younger people more flexibility. So even much younger people, you know, maybe in their 20s, early mid-20s, they're working remote. Maybe they couldn't afford to like pay rent and travel.
Yeah.
But they saw an opportunity to travel for 3 months and get rid of an apartment. And then they can come here, and things are actually a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
The day-to-day life is more affordable here than a lot of cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
And Europe and places. So while it's expensive, like the balance actually is less, right? So
Yeah.
I think it is a big result of COVID, just more jobs going online or allowing flexibility. Maybe you can travel for a month and then be back in the office for a month. I definitely think that was a huge factor.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite things. It's such a diverse community.
Yeah.
We'll have, you know, our friend group alone, we have dinner and there's like 10 countries in the room.
That's
And
awesome.
I don't know where else like that you have that. Different ages too, anywhere from like early 20s to 50. Like,
Yeah.
And
It's very
people
cosmopolitan.
it is, yeah.
I love it.
I absolutely love it.
So how can people connect with you? What are your socials that you want to share? You have the ad agency,
Mm-hmm.
but typically in wineries. Is that
Yes,
who you focus on specifically?
A digital marketing agency. My niche is wine or hospitality marketing.
Okay.
I am starting to explore, you know, I would love to work with more businesses here. So that's something in the new year. I have a goal.
Okay.
Whether that's education for local businesses, obviously, because, you know, they need those resources. What they can pay for services like social media marketing here is, you know, budgets are much tighter, they're much different than a lot of other places. So I've been talking to some of the businesses I enjoy going to, and I see them needing help in low season, in high season, and how do you communicate with tourists versus locals and go through that. So how can I work with more businesses here and just work on those expertise and providing education in that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Instagram. It's just my personal Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty active there, I guess, on stories. That's been a fun way, you know, especially with international friends. That's a big network there to stay in touch.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is just my name, Ashley M. Cummins.
Ashley M. Cummins.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm sure you'll see me on at least one WhatsApp chat group.
Oh my God!
I'm in
the WhatsApp.
Let's
talk about WhatsApp for a minute.
Yes.
Okay. How many WhatsApp groups are you in?
I have never counted, but honestly, probably way too many. I love WhatsApp.
I do too.
Never really used it. Occasionally on an international trip until moving here. I think it is an amazing way to just connect, and things are very efficient.
Yeah. And businesses use it.
And businesses, I just think it's a personal way to act. Yeah, businesses like to text for your order or to make an appointment.
Yeah.
I find it incredibly
so much more
useful.
convenient.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm in many WhatsApp groups. I manage a few. I manage one for All Day Azama for women who live there.
Okay.
I saw a gap in that community, and that's one of probably our most active groups. So
What's the name of that WhatsApp group?
It's All Day Azama Girls.
Yes.
And it's for women who live or work or own businesses in that neighborhood specifically.
Awesome.
You know, we really try to keep that conversation tailored because that neighborhood has a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's a really good resource. It's mostly women who live here long term. It's great for asking questions, sharing, supporting new businesses, local businesses. So that's really active. I created a party chat just for women also.
Yeah.
When parties started coming back, I saw a gap there, and there's a lot of women here alone, solo.
Yeah.
Even now I'm seeing posts like, hey, I'm coming in January by myself. Would love to go to this party or this event with someone.
I love that you created that group.
And
because if you're traveling solo as a woman and you do want to go out.
And I felt like that was a safe space to say, like, I will never share something that I wouldn't go to myself.
Right.
So it's a place to, hey, I want to go to this event. Who else? Can we carpool? Let's meet up. I've met some of my best friends do that too. We like joke about it. They were like, oh, we'll just meet at this, come over to my house and then we'll get ready and go.
Yeah.
And that was a year ago, and now we're best friends. And
I love that.
So that's a safe space for women to connect and ask questions like about parties too,
Yeah.
And so I have that group, and I'm in co-working.
Yeah.
I'm very active there, and I'm in a lot of groups, but so I'm sure I get that people recognize me or recognize my name from a lot of WhatsApp groups. But
well, I've enjoyed chatting with you. Let's play a quick game of Ashley's Best of Tulum.
Sure.
Okay. So your best place to get a coffee?
Ooh, there's a really good coffee here. One of my favorites is Cafe Hunabku.
Okay.
It's on Kukulkan. It's a local shop. A husband and wife own it. Especially they make their own coconut cream. So if you like a little bit of sweetness in your coffee, it's really good.
Cafe Hunabku.
Mm-hmm.
Cafe Hunabku.
Cafe Hunabku. It's on Kukulkan.
Okay.
And so that's one of my favorites.
Coffee. Okay. Top 3 fave beach clubs. Folks, don't get mad because I know you support a lot of beach clubs, but what are your top 3 favorites?
I will have to say number 1's Delic.
Okay.
We're there at least once, twice, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I think the staff is wonderful. They're very inviting. It's, especially on Sundays, it's a really nice place to go see fellow expat locals. It's such a nice vibe. The food is some of my favorite. I love working from there.
Okay.
It's pet friendly. The beach is really nice, so it's definitely one of my go-tos.
Delic. Okay.
On the public beach side, I love Cinco.
Okay.
Same thing. It's just, it feels like such a local community place. Not a lot of tourists, I guess, don't really know.
Okay.
Super comfortable. The food, it's such a nice day, and the water there is always so blue.
Ooh.
It's so blue.
All right, guys.
And they always get fresh lobster.
That's an insider tip. Cinco.
Tulum.
Okay.
And then what else I love? There's always new ones. I love Orchid Beach House.
Okay.
Actually, again, it's a smaller one, lesser known. I think Vagaloom is really nice. If you want to treat yourself.
Yeah.
There's
fancier,
so many.
Fancier.
Depends on the mood.
So we had Delic,
Cinco,
Orchid
Beach House is one of my. Yeah.
Vagaloom snuck in there, y'all. They don't need any help. Okay?
No.
Best place to get nails done?
I go to Lotus Spa in Aldea Zama.
Okay.
They opened year and a half ago. I'm pretty sure I've been one of the first clients, and I'm a diehard fan.
Okay.
Same thing. It's a husband and wife that own it. They're locals. They're so kind, and they also. I watch how they treat their staff, and they're very supportive, and they want to. Finding employees here is really hard. There's a lot of turnover in Tulum.
Yeah.
And so when I find businesses that the staff have been there, 6
time.
months, a year longer,
something.
which is Delic, Cinco, you see the same. That says a lot.
Yeah.
A lot about business.
It's good to know.
To Lotus
in Aldea Zama.
In Aldea Zama, yes.
Okay. Best place to catch the sunset or sunrise?
Ooh, so sunrise, always the public beach, just going in, and then I love having breakfast at Mezzanine after.
Oh, yeah.
They have that beautiful deck over the water. The breakfast is so good, and it's just such a peaceful start to the day.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites. Go to the public beach, watch the sunrise.
Nice. And what time is that, sunrise?
Right now, it's 6:30, 6:45. It's not too early.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it. In the winter, or I guess in the summer, it's 5.
Yeah.
It's very
good. What about sunset?
For sunset, there's a few.
Pretty amazing.
Yes.
Here.
You have to go to one of the few, towers in the beach zone.
Yeah.
So there's Hotelito Azul and Panamera Roof,
Yes.
beautiful, and then Ciel Rose is a lesser known.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't say it because
Yeah.
it's so tiny. No, but it's they have just a cool little tower on the top, and I think it's the tallest one actually in the hotel zone, and it's 360 views of the jungle and the ocean, and they always have some music, live music, and nice cocktails, and it's a really nice
The
spot.
sunsets here, guys, are just like
It's like cotton
to
candy
die
every
for.
night.
Yeah. Just beautiful. All right. Do you prefer a bike, scooter, or ATV?
My first year, I bicycled everywhere,
Yeah.
and then it's just too hot.
I know.
You go through that
it's like
phase.
you graduate.
Yes, you go through that phase of biking to the beach, and you arrive sweaty everywhere. Did that. It took me a while to learn and get comfortable to drive a scooter. It is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
So be cautious. Don't just jump. I spent a month driving around all day Azama,
Yeah.
getting comfortable before I went out on the roads.
Like on the
the paved roads where there's less traffic. So I have a scooter, and then we also have cars. We own a transportation company, so but scooter's the easiest way to get around.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
bike's nice now when it's cool out,
Yeah.
popping around your neighborhood. But it gets really hot, and I would say we're getting there. There's new bike paths in progress, but I would not say we're like the most bike friendly.
No.
People want it to be, but we're not there. And for me, it's just like a safety thing too.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Sexiest rooftop.
Sexiest rooftop. I think Panamera Roof.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
like
a
anything
ton of
about
rooftops.
Panamera.
Or Layla
Oh, I
in
haven't
Centro.
been there, no.
It's a beautiful rooftop on a hotel. It's Mediterranean. They have a pool and these arches and like Turkish, Moroccan like tile.
Ooh, okay. That
That's also
sounds
a
like
really good sunset
A
spot.
go-to
But
spot.
There's not a lot of rooftops. A lot of people's private penthouses or
Yeah.
apartments. They're
Yeah.
buildings.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for this interview. I really enjoyed learning about you and about life in Tulum. Last question.
Mm-hmm.
What has Tulum taught you?
So many things, but ultimately, people are good and kind, the majority, always, and patience. So much patience, and to just slow down. Truly, like, it has changed my life, and I can't imagine being anywhere else right now, or for a while. This is going to be home for a long time, or home base. But yes, patience, slowing down, appreciating it, and also just being up for an adventure. There's always something, to pop into, jump in with. You go to the beach and you end up having like a magical afternoon. I think just going with the flow.
I
Patience.
couldn't have said it better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.